Okay, looks like I am live. Hello, everyone. First of all, Happy New Year. It's 2024. We thank God we made it to another year. I don't know about you, but 2023, anyway, we'll talk about that more in the live. But in today's live, I want to talk about financial goals. Obviously, it's January, it's the beginning of the month, and so I thought, why not take the time to actually talk about financial goals? So, hopefully, you can hear me. If there are any problems or issues, do let me know in the comments. Also, feel free to comment on your goals as well. I would love to know like what you're trying to focus on. I'm also going to be sharing some of our goals too and what to actually think about, in 2024, just to make sure that you have set yourself up for success. So, let's talk about financial goals. And if you are new here, my name is Veronia. So, welcome. Hello. And my goal is to help as many people as possible save more money. So, if you're someone who's maybe looking to save up your first 5K this year and you want a bit more support, definitely check out my one on one coaching. It will be left in the description below. But yeah, let's get started. And if you've got any questions or anything that you want to need to share in this live, please do also let me know. So let's talk about financial goals. So I think before we even think about, okay, what are we going to talk about in 2024? What are we going to be setting up for ourselves? You may already have like your goals already. I think it's also still important to cast back to the year before. So in this case, we'll be thinking about 2023. And with 2023, I want you to like cast your mind back and think about, okay, well, what worked and what didn't work? Because sometimes I think we almost start we want to start afresh and we're like, yes, a new year and everything, and that's all amazing. But I think it's also good to think about, okay, what are some things that we want to carry on doing for the next year, and what are some things that we want to stop doing or reduce. So yeah, happy new year, integrated purgatory. So yeah, so let's talk about financial goals. Let's first talk about 2023, and I'm assuming that you guys can hear me as well, so please do let me know if you can't hear me. But let's talk about 2023. So what I want you to do is, first of all, okay, let's talk about maybe what worked in 2023. And I can use some examples from myself and obviously give you guys some other examples. So you want to be thinking about, okay, is there anything that went really well in 2023? Maybe you finally were able to start your budget and you were much more consistent with your budgeting, or maybe you actually started finally investing your money. Maybe you put like your first $50 or £50 into your account and you started investing. Maybe you actually had a plan to save a certain amount of money, whether it was 5K, maybe it was 10K. Whatever it is, it's really important to think about, okay, what works? Because you want to start thinking, is this something I can now start to do for 2024, this year as well? And so for me, if I think about myself, I think what worked for us was that we did have like realistic goals, especially with our finances, which was great. So we kind of knew, okay, what we wanted to focus on, particularly with our finances. We were doing a lot of saving last year, and we were also investing as well. So we had like a bit of a realistic goal, and although it was realistic, it was a little bit of a stretch goal as well. So that's what we had. Um, so think about what actually works so that you can take that forwards to the next year. And then what you want to think about is, okay, well, what didn't work? And I don't know, guys, about you, but 2023 was I feel like everyone thought 2023 was going to be a lot better, especially considering that we just come out of the pandemic, and in 2021 it felt like things were looking up, and then in 2022 we started having all of this inflation, and then in 2023 it just felt like everything just got worse. I don't know if it was me, but despite that, I think it's also still good to think about, okay, well, what are things that maybe didn't work for you personally that you might want to think about doing differently this year? So it could be, for example, that yes, you were able to start your budget and that worked well, and you were consistent with it. However, maybe you struggled to stick to the budget. Maybe there were times where you went over budget consistently. And so that was then stopping you from being able to save as much money. Or maybe it was that you started investing for the first time and that was great. However, what didn't work is that you kept checking your portfolio all the time, and maybe you saw that your investments went down and you decided to pull out all of your money because you got scared, essentially. So think about like what didn't work. And even if I think about myself, I think for us, when I cast back to our goals, so we had a savings goal and we missed it by about 3K. We missed our savings goal by about 3K. And then I also had an investing goal. I wanted to have like a certain amount in my stock portfolio, and I missed that by about £200, like $300. So it's not a terrible amount. Like, I think we still did well considering. Um, but I think, again, that's something that we've then been thinking about this year, where we're like, okay, we need to be even a little bit more realistic, because you never know what's going to happen during the year. Like, we didn't realize that inflation was going to be so high in 2023. We did not realize that. So we didn't take that into account. And there's only so much you can control, right? There's only so much like you'll be able to know. But again, it's something to consider. So we've been asking ourselves, what I've been asking is, 2024 also going to be another expensive year? We ended up also in 2023, yeah, I ended up traveling as well for like business trips, and then so I didn't like take that into account as well. So it's things like that where it then had an impact on our savings. So that's what I then want to think about this year. So you want to think about, like, is there anything that maybe didn't work so well that you now want to start improving for in 2024? Like, we want to try and make sure that we're not making the same mistakes. Um, I'm just going to go to the comments. I achieved 90% of my goals in 2023. I was slightly disheartened, but one of your lives gave me a good pick me up talk. Thank you. Oh, that's amazing. Do you know what? To achieve 90% of your goals is like an amazing goal, because if you think about it, most people that set their goals, they probably don't achieve any of it at all. So to achieve 90%, that's amazing. And I think that means that you did really well in terms of actually setting your goals. My financial goals for this year is to save 10K if possible. I love that for you, Lauren. I love that. What do you think is a fair amount to save each month? Really good question. So I'm gonna actually talk about that now. Let's talk about, like, what do you need to do to achieve them. But guys, also comment your goals as well. Let me know, what goals do you have for this year? What do you want to hit in 2024? And you're not just going to have financial goals. Obviously, you're going to have other life goals as well. For example, 2024, I'm not going to lie, for me, I have a health goal that's like quite important for me. So that's something that I'm going to be focusing on, but it also kind of impacts my finances, because then it also depends on like the food that I'm going to be buying, and whether like that means that we're going to be spending more on our food budget. So it kind of all interlinks. It definitely interlinks, but obviously you'll have different goals. So let's talk about, okay, what do you want to be thinking about when you want to achieve them, and what do you need to change this year as well to make sure that you actually, either hit your goals or at least get close to your goals as much as possible. Um, so linked to Lauren's question, what do you think, when it comes to your goals? So for example, if you've got like a specific savings goal, you also want to be questioning, okay, what is also my timeline? So if in this case you're thinking about saving 10K for this year, if we just do like simple math, that is what, 833 each month, if my maths are correct. Yeah, about 833. So it could be that you then have a goal to save 833 each month, so that by the time it gets to the end of the year, you have 10K. But it could also be that maybe you actually give yourself a bit of leeway, because your income may fluctuate. You never know what's happening this year. So it could be that you ask yourself, okay, well, how much do I want to save per quarter? So within the next 3 months, how much do I want to have saved? And again, within the next 6 months, how much do I want to have saved? So it can, and I think that's why I kind of like I like things like savings goals just because it can be as simple as literally just doing math and literally taking your goal and dividing it by 12, and that's it. Or you could reverse it and you could have a look and see, okay, how much realistically am I able to save each month now? And if I continue doing that, how much could I have by the end of the year? So, for example, if let's say you're able to save 1,000 each month, well, then you know that pretty much you should have at least 10K by the end of the year. You'll probably have about 12K. And that is without, for example, you increasing your income or your income changing, for example. So there are ways that you can start thinking about doing that so that um, it becomes a lot more realistic. And you're like, okay, I know that at minimum, this is how much I need to save. And then actually, if, for example, let's say that your goal is, okay, I want to save 10K by the end of this year, you can then ask yourself, okay, if I'm only currently able to save 500 at the moment this month, what do I need to do for me to then get up closer to that 800 or that 1000 mark so that I know I can actually hit my goal? Do I need to start thinking about my income? So, do I need to think about changing jobs or asking for a promotion? Do I need to start thinking about starting a business or something, starting something on the side? When you start to set like realistic goals, you'll start to think about actually being more creative with it, and you'll start to think about, okay, well, how much do I now need to make in order for me to actually hit those goals? So I'd say the first thing is obviously doing the math. So thinking about, okay, what's going to be your focus, or what's going to be your focus? Are you trying to save 10K? Do you have debt that you really want to pay off? So are you going to be, trying to get rid of 5K worth of debt? Do you want to invest a certain amount of money? So really be thinking about, okay, this is how much that I want to save, invest, pay off. And then this is realistically how much I can be doing each month. Let's now start to think about, okay, what do I need to do, in order for me to achieve that? Um, I have a credit card, also payment of 688 currently. I currently owe. What do you suggest with this? So, one of the things actually that I've been talking about on Instagram. So, if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, Veronia Spain. Is one of the things that I've actually been talking about is sometimes we tend to set too many goals. We tend to set a lot of goals. And I'm guilty of this too. I did this last year and I'm like, actually, I need to go back to the basics because when I was paying off my debt, I had one focus and that was it. So I chose one thing to focus on during that year. And then once I achieved that, I then moved on to something else. And it's not to say like, and I'm not saying, just focus on your saving for 10K and like leave the credit card alone, for example. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you want to have one focus and let everything else be a bonus. So in this case, you want to ask yourself, what is more important? Is it paying off the credit card or is it building your savings? What is going to be the focus? What's more important to you? If we take it from like a maths perspective, and I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not telling you like what to actually do, but if I'm thinking it from a maths perspective, just from a logical perspective, I have to ask myself, okay, what returns are better? Is it better for me to pay off the credit card, have some extra money to then save it and put that towards my savings, or is it better for me to actually save the money? Potentially you could do both. Like you could actually do both. But what I'm saying is you want to think about, okay, is there something that you can really focus on and let everything else be a bonus? So it could be maybe this first half of the year or this first quarter, you focus on the credit card. And then once that's paid off, you then transition to focusing on your savings. Because what I did is I learned how to save whilst I was paying off my debt. So I was learning how to save money, actually putting it into my savings account, and then I used that money to then pay off my debt. So that by the time I paid off my debt, and I paid it off, I think it was like May of 2020. So like literally whilst we were in lockdown, I paid it off. And then as soon as I paid off that debt, I knew exactly what I needed to focus on after. I was then building up my emergency fund. And I was able to build up my emergency fund really, really quickly because I already knew how to save money because I was doing it with my debt. And also, I didn't have any debt payments anymore. So I could use some of that money to then add towards my savings. So it's really thinking about actually what's going to be more important and what makes sense for you in terms of what you want to focus on. But I think one thing that I'm going to be doing this year is having like this main focus and then letting everything else kind of like be a bonus on the side. So in our case, for example, again, we're like focusing right on our savings because we really want to move this year. That's something by God's grace we've been praying about it. We're praying that we can actually like continue and do it this year. Um, so for us, like that's going to be the focus, like trying to build as many savings as possible just to make sure we're okay, especially because interest rates are a joke. So yeah, so that's like our focus. But it's not to say that we're not going to be investing. We are, but we're just not going to be doing again as much because our focus is on saving this year. So anyone who's going to be joining me, we're going to be saving a lot this year. We can all save together. If that's obviously your goal, if that's your focus, if that's your focus. Um, 2023 has been so chaotic. I'm proud of my achievement. Honestly, I agree. Like 2023 was woo, woo, woo. But we thank God we're still here. We're still here, guys. Like let's be grateful we're still here. But yeah, 2023 was interesting. I even think like I also felt like a little bit disconnected as well. I don't know. I think it was just like the year itself. Like I don't know if you guys could tell. Like I didn't do as many lives as I used to. I wasn't really as active, and I think it's just because of the way the year was. It just didn't feel great. But we're here. We're in another year. I definitely want to come back to my lives. I'll be like probably like switching between weekday lives and weekend lives depending on what my schedule is like. But yeah, I've missed you guys. I love being live. I forget. I'm planning to cook more vegan dishes and not depend on carbs so much. I love that for you. Is that like part of your health goals? I do like that. So again, yeah, you're not just going to have financial goals, you're also going to have, different goals as well. How do you gain control with not touching your savings? I let myself spend, which is probably a weird answer, but I allow myself to spend because I think what tends to happen is when you try to like restrict yourself from not touching your savings at all, it's almost like you then want to touch your savings. Whereas because I let myself spend and I'm very realistic with like how I spend my money, I know that I'm going to be able to spend money on this and that and go out. I have no I don't need to touch my savings. Like the money gets saved, it's literally treated like another bill and then I save it, and then that's it. And I it's been like that for a good few years now, but it's because I've built the ability to literally just have my savings separate and still be able to spend as well. So, um, yeah, if that's something that you're thinking about, definitely one of the tips is allow yourself to spend as well. Um, there was something else that I wanted to talk about goals as well. Um, yes, actually, link to thinking about okay what you're going to be focusing on. I think you also want to ask your question, like be asking yourself what is something that I can realistically do this year. Is I think there's a saying, it's like I, I don't remember the saying, but it's something along the lines where we kind of overestimate how much we can achieve, maybe like in a year or like a month, but we underestimate how much we can achieve in like 10 years. So I think it's just thinking about okay, can we be a bit realistic with just like how much we can achieve depending on where we're currently at. So I mean, you could tell yourself, "Oh, I wanna have like 50K in savings or 100K in savings by the end of the year." But if your income maybe doesn't really match that, then that may not be very realistic, right? So you also wanna think about, okay, is there something that I can do that's realistic, but also stretches you at the same time? Like, I don't wanna, say I'm not saying, tell yourself you're gonna save 50 for the whole year even though you could probably do that in a month. Do you get what I mean? Like it's something that at least is still realistic, but can also stretch you at the same time. Because when it does stretch you a little bit, you then start to get creative. And depending on how much you want to achieve it, you'll then be questioning, okay, well, what else can I do? Like, what can I do instead? What can I focus on? You know, are there different ways that I can make more money to be able to help me actually save it? Or if I don't want to like drastically cut down on my spending, because you don't necessarily have to be able to save, is there something else I can do to be able to still save as much, but also to still be able to like spend that money as well, especially since, things are much more expensive these days. Um, so yeah, that's also something that you want to focus on. So if you have debt this year and you want to pay off the debt, it may not be that you end up paying off, the full 20K. But if you're able to pay off 10K or 15K, that makes a huge difference. Like that does make a huge difference. Like for me, my debt was about 16K, and it took me longer than a year to pay it off. It took me about 18 months, mainly because I made a few mistakes at the beginning. But it took me a bit longer for me to do that. So if had I set it like for the year, I probably wouldn't have achieved it. But 18 months for me was good. So, just being a bit realistic and thinking about, okay, have you actually decided, what do you want to do in this time frame as well? um and of course, like making a plan. Again, it can literally be simple maths. That's what I love about personal finance. It can literally be simple maths where you just tell yourself, okay, this is how much I need to be saving, this is how much I need to pay off, this is how much I need to invest in order for me to hit my goal, and then that's it. um I hope that you achieve that. Thank you. No, I hope so too. um because it's yeah, yeah, I'm excited. It's time. I'm eating more vegan so that my health is my priority. Love that for you, Daryl. I'm lowering my burn rate in 2024. I will invest what I save, I think you mean. The lower my expenses, the more financially free I am. Yeah, or you could potentially do the other way where you end up making a bit more, and that actually, um, increases your buffer. Yeah, I think actually, even if I think about it, I think our food budget is probably going to increase, as if it hasn't increased enough, because even Aldi's expensive these days, guys. Like sometimes when I go to Aldi and I'm like, how is this? Why is this all so expensive? Just because food inflation. But I think ours will start to increase just because I recently bought a cookbook. My husband was like, "Why have you just spent money on a cookbook?" But this is what I like to spend money on, things that I think will help me. But I recently bought a cookbook because I want to, think about what my food is going to be like. Um, and I bought it because when I went back in like 2020, I'm digressing, but back in 2020, I would eat like a lot of protein, for example. So I would eat like chicken and sweet potato, but and like with vegetables, and that could do me for my dinner. But now that I'm married, unfortunately, Yinka will not want to eat that kind of food every single day. So I had to find a way to be able to cook meals that are both healthy and high in protein, that will also be enough for him as well. So I ended up finding this cookbook, and so I bought it. And so with that, our food budget is probably going to increase though a little bit because yeah, because of the type of food that I will be making. But yeah, it's I think it will be worth it. I think it will be worth it. Your advice is very inspiring. I wish you good luck with all your goals this year. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dorin. And I wish you the best of luck as well. I think 10K can be done. Definitely. Saving 10K can be done. So I wish you the best of luck. It was when I saved my first 10K, I was like, "Oh my gosh." Considering that I was struggling to even save like 500 at a time, to be able to save 10K, it's a really, really huge achievement. So best of luck with it. Hi, Labe. For me, I need to have another income stream for 2024. I cannot find any legitimate side hustle suitable for me in the UK. Any ideas? Oh my gosh, there's like there are so many different things that you can do. I think it also depends like if you want to do it online or offline. So with online, there are things, there are random things that you can do, like selling on Etsy, for example. I know that one of my friends has been doing that. And she's been making a decent amount from that. Um, I think it's just probably all about doing your research and even just searching on YouTube, like what kind of side hustles are people doing? Because if you there are even offline ones that you can do. Some people even still like drive for Uber Eats or Deliveroo or any of like, um, any of those chains, or like you can do, random things. There's a lot out there. It's probably just researching, and it will probably be on YouTube, like, I don't know, ten side hustles in 2024, and someone will probably talk about it in much more detail, better than me anyway. Or for example, if I'm part of Financial Joy Academy, which is a membership. It's in my description, where they also help you with building different side hustles. We've got people who are even starting to think about property investing as like a side hustle as well, or starting a blog. That is also something that can be considered. So there are a lot of things. If you do want to check out Financial Joy Academy, it's run by Ken and Mary from the Humble Penny. It's linked in my description below. But yeah, they also help with like helping you create side hustles as well. So definitely, I would definitely like recommend even like us thinking about that, because yeah, when it comes to, especially if you're working a 9 to 5, I think sometimes we rely too much on that, and that can change very, very quickly. Even if we go back to the pandemic, companies were laying off employees left, right, and center. So it's definitely something that I would recommend. But of course, it's up to you what you decide to do, what kind of side hustle you decide to do. I know we have to eat to live, but food prices are becoming ridiculous. I love Heinz tomato ketchup. It's over £4 for the size I used to buy. I am not buying it anymore. Honestly, I feel you, Elaine, because some of these prices are ridiculous. There was one time I think I went to Aldi, and like the olive oil had just disappeared. And then I was thinking, what on earth has been going on? Why is there no olive oil? Like, we were literally going to different Aldis trying to find olive oil, had to go to like the nearest Lidl, and then managed to get olive oil. And it was literally a whole £5 for olive oil. And I was like, how has the price jumped? Wasn't olive oil like two 2.50 or something, or like £2 or something? And it was like £5. And I went, that's crazy. But apparently something had happened, where the production of olive oil, something happened where there was just too much demand, there wasn't enough supply, and so the prices just got hiked up, and it was literally for like every supermarket. So yeah, we're living in some interesting times. We're living in some interesting times. But yeah, no, I feel for you. Even just buying things like barbecue sauce, I'm like, oh, this is a bit much, isn't it? I mean, £4 for ketchup, it's a bit crazy, bit crazy. How long did it take you to save your first 10K? So it depends on if you count me saving to pay off my debt or just saving. If it was saving to pay off my debt, I think it also would have actually no, I think they both took me around the same time. It was less than 12 months essentially, because to do 16K took me about 18, but after I paid off the debt, it took me less than a year to save up my next 10K. So after that, and this was before I got married as well. Like this was just based on my income alone. Um, Good ideas. Yes, need to do my research. Yeah, definitely do your research with that. Um, Lidl helps me so much, but I'm still feeling the higher prices. Like honestly, like remember, guys, I used to do my little Aldi videos where I'd be like, yeah, we're doing a 34 a week budget. Yeah, this is great. Look at the 34. No, I could never. Now, I could never. We're spending at least 50 a week now just on food. Yeah. And it's not, again, it's not like we've drastically changed our diet. I mean, we're gonna change it a little bit now, but it's not like we've drastically changed it before, and we were still spending that much, and it was just because of food inflation, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll see what happens this year. I know that they are obviously like really excited that inflation has gone down, but food inflation is still really high. So we're not gonna let that impact our goals, guys. We're not gonna do it. We're still gonna work towards our goals. We're still gonna do it. We're still gonna keep going. We're still gonna keep going no matter what 2023 has done. It's a new year. I think it will still be I think it will still be a great year. I definitely think it will still be a great year. So we've got to keep positive, even if food is much more expensive. Even if food is much more expensive. I've watched your videos, just wanted a refresh. Yes, I'm actually going to be doing during January. I'm going to be like doing a like back to the basics series where I'm going to be sharing like if you want to save like either 5 or 10K this year, what I think you should be focusing on if you're trying to pay off debt, what I think you should be focusing on if you want to start investing, again, what I think you should be focusing on. So yeah, because it's like January, or and also like how to start a budget as well. That's something that I'm going to be sharing. Oh, and also if you guys haven't watched my previous video, I'm going to be doing a new series. Thank you guys as well, actually, for those of you who already sent through your budget. But I'm going to be doing a series where I review your budget personally. So if you would like me to have a look at your budget and tell you what I think you're doing well and what I think you might want to, improve and think about, it should be also in my description, or you can check out my previous video so that you can review so that I can review your budget. And yeah, I'll be doing that on YouTube. Of course, like I won't be sharing your name or anything, it will be anonymous, but I will share it on YouTube so that I can let you know. I can let you know how you can improve on it. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to that as well. And then I also have, oh, actually, whilst maybe some of you guys are here, I am thinking about changing my uploading schedule as well. Um, I'm going to be sending out a poll, I think on Friday on my YouTube community page to ask you. It's between Wednesday and Sunday. So I want you guys to vote which one. Because Tuesdays, although I do like uploading on Tuesdays, it can be difficult sometimes on Tuesdays for me to upload because Tuesdays tend to be like quite busy. And because I tend to coach like Monday evenings, by the time it gets to Tuesday, I'm like dying. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this video out. So I want to be able to have like enough space. So I'm thinking Wednesday or Sunday, or you can let me know in the chat as well, like which one you would prefer to upload videos. And of course, I want to continue my monthly lives. I want to get that back up. That's nice, but do what's best for you. Oh, thank you so much, Alib. You guys are so nice. But honestly, what works for me is either Wednesday or Sunday. So whichever one, I don't mind. I like either days, to be honest. Um, but yeah, is there anything else that I wanted to talk about as well? And let me know if you guys have any questions, or like if there's specific goals that you want me to like quickly run through and ask, even like how I would maybe think about doing working towards those goals. Please do let me know. But yeah, the next video I'm hoping to come out is um like how to actually start your budget, and I'll be sharing like my process in terms of what I actually tend to do when I start a budget, and how like what different habits I have when I'm budgeting as well, to ensure that we're able to save enough money and to also spend that money as well. So yeah, looking forward to that. Um, but yeah, any questions? Obviously, if you want like yes, that would be good because I fall off when I budget, need to get back on it. Yes, yes. I feel like some with budgeting, it's like people have like a love or hate relationship with it. I absolutely love it, but I think it's because of the way I've made it. Like I've genuinely made my budget work well for me. So it's something that I just look forward to doing. Um, I just think that we shouldn't really force ourselves to doing a type of budget that doesn't work for us. So you may just need to like spend a little bit of time just thinking about actually what works well for you, what works better for you, what's going to make it a bit easier for you. So yeah, I will make sure I talk about that in my video. But if you also want like further support, that's one-on-one coaching. So if you are looking to save up at least 5K, that's something that I can help you with as well. So make sure you do check out the link below to book a call just to find out more about coaching with me. Um, I would like saving challenges, realistic amounts of money to save. Do you know what? I've been asked this before, but I think it's because I don't necessarily do saving challenges for myself. Um I then kind of think about, oh, how can I actually make a challenge for someone else? But maybe we could make a challenge during my lives. Let's make a challenge. What challenge should we do? Okay, let's let's try, and I want us to try and literally for the next month in January, let's start off small. Let's try and save, I want to say 50. Find 50 pounds or dollars worth of savings anywhere. So it could be with groceries, it could be with maybe, I don't know, like your car insurance, it could be with, like your phone contract or any bills. Why don't we try to save at least 50 for the month? And then we'll come back and we'll see how we did. We'll see how we did. Let's try and do that challenge. I'm gonna try and see if how I can do that as well, because typically what I tend to do is I literally just tend to save, like as soon as I get paid, I just save money and then like that's it. But I'm liking this challenge. Let's try and like find any way. Okay, no. Let's do any way that either we can save 50 or make an extra 50 so that we can add that to our savings. I like that because even if, for example, there may not be areas where you can save, you could potentially make another 50 more, right? It could be that you sell some stuff. Like maybe you sell something on Vinted and you end up making 50, and then that means you can add it to your savings account for whatever you're saving for, or even like paying off debt or investing or anything like that. So I like that challenge. Thank you, Lade. Let's do that. Let's do that. I like that challenge. But yeah, any questions before I let you guys go? I need to like think about going back to a monthly schedule. So I'll also let you guys know when I'll be next going live as well for that. How is your coaching business going, and how are you planning to manage time with that versus YouTube in 2024? I really love it. I've realized like this is probably like my career just because I love helping people with finances. I've had amazing clients so far. How do I plan on managing time with that versus YouTube? So I typically will do all of my coaching in the evenings, and then with YouTube, I typically will film that in the morning. So I kind of do like calls in the evening, content in the morning, because I'm obviously not just on YouTube as well. Like I'm also on Instagram as well. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Veronia Spain. I do different content on there. Um, so yeah, but I typically have, yeah, time to do both. To do both. I don't know how. Probably by God's grace. But yeah, that's how I end up. That's how I end up doing it. And then my weekends are free. And in between that, I also work as well. So yeah, I managed to do all of it. But then because I literally just work from home, it's a lot easier for me to do everything. So the last company I was at, it was a lot more difficult because I was commuting up there a couple of times a week, so that was hard. But this role is fully remote, so I'm able to do everything, which is amazing. So yeah, Cool. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Depending on the poll, I may either have a video up on Sunday or Wednesday, and then hopefully I will also do another live maybe at the end of the month. During the middle of the month, it's my birthday, so I will not be live. But yeah, I will hopefully try and do another one because I know it's January and we're all still like trying to get into the swing of things when it comes to our finances. Um, it is my last year in my 20s. If you guys didn't know, it's my last year. So it's a little bit emotional, to be honest. Yeah, it's a little bit emotional. I'm going to be turning 29, and then next year is the big 30. So you guys can actually like let me know what you think I should do for my 30th birthday because I've been thinking about that already. Because I'm not really doing anything for this year apart from like Yinka's taking me on the spa weekend, which is nice. So we're doing that. But I'm not doing like anything big. So if you guys have got any ideas how I'm going to celebrate my 30th birthday next year, that will be great. Thank you. No problem. No problem. Yes, I miss them too. I miss my live streams too. So we'll definitely. That's one thing we're bringing back in 2024. That's like one thing we're definitely bringing back. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and have a great evening. And we'll speak soon. Bye.